Ba-bing! My Netflix subscription has finally paid off. Let's do this! Ba-da-da-da-da. Mahid and Brahim's Avengers. Ba-da-bum. Hello everybody, my name is Matt Muhammad, and yes, I have a new intro. It's supposed to be shorter than the old one, but have a little bit of the new one. If you guys like it, just tell me in the comments so I can keep it or if I should change it. But yeah, now that I got that out of the way, let's start the actual video. So, the Mitchells versus the Machines. It used to be called Connected, then it went back to the old title that was named in, like, the old development phase. And I honestly like the title more. The movie fell into the COVID category where it was supposed to release on a certain day, but then yet COVID came and it got delayed indefinitely. And then they found a home on Netflix. So yeah, I'm going to be talking about the movie, and I'm going to tell you if you should watch it or not. The animation. So I'm just going to say it right here, the animation is amazing. It's made by the people who made Into the Spider-Verse, and just like Spider-Verse, there's an epilepsy warning, even though it kind of doesn't need it, but whatever. The animation goes for the 3D, 2D style, and speaking of 2D style, they'll be randomly on 2D popping things that come out of nowhere, like when a character is feeling a really good emotion, and I like that, but sometimes they plaster it all over the screen, and sometimes they stop the movie to like show off all this 2D animation that there is, which I kind of don't like because it can ruin suspense for the movie. Sometimes they like add little filters over the shots, which I'll explain more when I get into our jokes part, which is coming after this. And also, one thing I also like is that the characters and everything is like 3D, 2D-ish, and like all goofy looking, and then the robots that are in the movie are like steel, modern, and I like that about it. I like how it looks. It doesn't seem out of place in the movie. It just looks natural. And if you were to watch the movie at all, that would be a reason to watch it. And anyway, I'm going to get into the jokes part now. The comedy. So the comedy is kind of hit or miss for me, because you have some jokes that are really funny, and then you have some jokes that are really bad. And I've noticed that most of the bad jokes are like those internet jokes. Like how they're like, oh my god, I'm going to follow you on Instagram. It's like, wait, you haven't followed me on Instagram yet? And I'm like, really? What good does it have to get to like paying Instagram so much money to say the word Instagram? And it's in the movie a lot. Like, not too much, but mostly a little lot. And there's also the filters thing that I mentioned earlier, where basically they're like, you know what would make this part great? A cat filter. It does it, I'm not joking. And there's also a part at the beginning and end of the movie where it's like, you know what this reminds me of? That YouTube video about the monkey. And then it kind of just goes for like 5 seconds where it's just like flashing back and forth. I don't know if they're trying to appeal to the Gen Z of the future, but I don't see the appeal in it at all. Just gonna make it look dated in a few months. However, that doesn't say that the whole thing is bad. There's some comedy jokes about like kind of Hollywood kind of thing where it's like, hey dad, let's go walk outside while the building's on fire. It's like, that would be a waste of time and would be useless to do. And then they do it. Which I find it a little funny because it could be about Hollywood, it could not. There's also parts like, well, look what we have here, the quirky little girl. And I mean, like, man, you can't just roast Hollywood like that. But yeah, and also there are actually some internet jokes I like, because there's the part where it's like, oh my god, I just ordered 12 different things from Amazon on accident. And there's a part where like he changes the dad changes like the language, it's in Espanol. But yeah, the comedy is good, and if you were to watch it for the comedy, if you can get past some of the internet jokes, it's kind of worth to watch. The story. Okay, now here's where I'm going to get into spoilers. I'm going to spoil the entire movie, and if you don't want to watch that, skip to the last part of the video, which will probably be a timestamp because I like to do timestamps. The movie's plot is relatively simple. It takes two cliche movie types, a road trip and an apocalypse, and runs with it. And you have your main character, Katie, the aspiring filmmaker that no one understands. You have the dad who wants to reconnect with her daughter because they've kind of fallen out, and the only logical thing to do is to cancel a plane ticket to college and just drive her there with a road trip. Yay! You have the mom who doesn't really have much of a importance until like the end of the movie, and then you have the brother Aaron, which is the best character of the movie. Anyway, whatever you say is wrong. Your opinion is wrong. He's the best character of the movie, and I want a spin-off with him. Anyway, so they drive for a little bit, do some hijinks, and then, oh look, the robot apocalypse. So like the main villain is this phone named Pal, and she's like, she gets her feelings hurt because because the guy who like invented her made the replacement, and she has so pity that she decides to use those things against him and to just shoot the human race up into space. She goes ahead, collects all the humans, put them in this thing, and her plan is to just shoot them into space forever. But don't worry, they have food and Wi-Fi. And that's also something, they say they have food with them, but I've never seen any food that's on the thing all the times you're seeing it. Anyway, the family, the Mitchells end up being like the last people to just survive. Everyone else is already captured. So ending up, they decide to work together with these two robots that got hit in the head, and now they're kind of broken. And that's where you get the comedy relief. And they just team up with them to like save the world. They go to a mall where basically everything is like infected because whatever has a pallet chip installed is infected, which is very dumb because why do you need a tennis racket to do that? Why do you need all these things? And then you get to the Furby part. It's the best part of the movie. I don't care what you say. It's so good. So then, turns out they blew up this router thing that turns off the Wi-Fi, so it cancels the download. So they decided to go to like the main area, and then they almost die because they showed a clip of like the Katie being a jerk, which is also weird because randomly in the movie she'll just be a jerk because the movie needs her to be. So that's probably the reason why she isn't my favorite character. But yeah, the dad gets so heartbroken that he nearly kills the whole family. But no, they're fine. They lock the mom and the dad inside a thing. Turns out, oh, because they had like a screwdriver, that's the one thing they need in order to escape. And then the brother and Katie, not the brother, and Aaron, they escape, and the brother goes ahead and he does like a watch out thing, and Katie decides to like save the day by actually using a pug, because one thing it does is that it calls back on jokes. Sometimes good, sometimes bad, but one of the jokes that they call on, which is a really cool one, is that earlier in the movie there's like a gag where they show their pet dog, and since it's a pug, the robots don't know what it is, so they break down. And what happens is that she straps the dog into like the front of the row, so whenever the robots try to fight her, they'll look at it and they'll break down. Which honestly is a really good plot point. I'm surprised they actually kept it. So yeah, they end up saving the day. And one thing that I thought was gonna happen but didn't was that, well, I thought the villain was gonna go ahead and become a good guy. I thought they were gonna pull a Steven Universe and be like, oh man, I was evil, but now you made me happy. And they actually almost did that. Like, Katie's like, family's important. And then the phone was just like, oh, I was sleeping, I was boring anyway, and then kills her. He actually didn't kill. But the phone actually dies. Like, it's not like, yay, I'm good now, let's dance. But no, they actually just kill off the phone. And then everyone else dies except for the two dysfunctional robots. Peace is saved, and then they take her to college, and everyone's acting like nothing bad happened. And that was the movie. Would I recommend? The short answer is yes, this movie is great. It's made by the people who made the Spider-Verse and the Lego movie, and you got my validation. If you can get past some of those cringy internet jokes at the beginning, I think you'll survive. It is a great movie, and I love it. The characters, while sometimes not perfect, they actually do have an accurate representation of a dysfunctional family, and I think most people will end up actually liking it. The animation is amazing. The 2D part is cool. One thing I forgot to talk about is that they actually have a good sibling relationship between Katie and Aaron. Usually I've noticed that like in shows or movies, they'll usually have like they don't like the brother, or like they have to grow to like each other, or like it's usually a stepbrother or a friend. Here it's like a good sibling relationship. You don't see them fighting. They're there for one another, and I honestly really like that. I'm surprised that none of their movies have done that yet. Well, not a lot. But yeah, the movie is great. the pacing isn't too bad. It knows when it's going too far with a joke, and if it doesn't, then you can kind of forgive it. Everything's fine. So would I recommend? Yes. Anyway, if you guys like this video, tell me that you like it. You could subscribe if you want to. Anyway, please subscribe for more videos. Bye bye.